Keep your blocks. Keep your blocks.
He don't have no power.
That's what I'm saying. That's that Gentile. Think we gotta keep it low and just because it's not a certain texture.
It is a
We call forth your anointing, burden removing, yoke destroying power of God. Before we even start this service, we want to thank you because you are all we need. Everything that pertains to life and godliness, we thank you. So as we pertain to things that pertain to your word, that the hearers be not only hearers but doers, that we would have the practice of giving you honor and glory in Yahweh's name. We thank you for those that wanted to come but didn't come. For those that by way of the internet, let their eyes of the understanding be enlightened, that they know the truth is being revealed in Yahweh's name. Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. So, Shabbat Shalom, everybody online. Shabbat Shalom, everybody in the house. Let me make sure we're rolling. You know, sometimes we have bad internet connection.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I can hear you.
y'all can hear me? Okay. All right. So, today,
Chapter 8. Chapter 8.
we're going to be talking about, we're going to continue in the prophecies concerning Israel and its desolation. Hold up. Yeah, I'm supposed to do that. Sorry about that, y'all.
Is the field mic on?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I'm not coming through?
You're coming through. I was just, because the people have said that they can't hear anything.
Okay.
Like from when people are posing questions that they're unable to hear.
I'm gonna turn this on.
They can hear you, just the rest of us.
Brad, say something real quick. Talk.
Say something.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. All right.
Shalom.
I turned it all the way up, so hopefully everybody can be heard. I think so. So,
I can hear.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be continuing this teaching in understanding where we at as far as people in desolation. And eventually we're gonna get to the ties into that in the land. Because we talked about multiple times, the premise of this is a lot of times when people talk about end times, they talk about the prophecies concerning Israel, and in Christian churches, they talk about their concept is they believe there's a future beast that's coming, and that beast is going to rule the world and all these other things. And what they don't realize is that the beast has been here. The beast is already here. It's been here. So, and because all the prophecies in the book are concerning Israel. Say it again. All the prophecies in the book are concerning Israel, right? So when you look at this beast, the first thing you got to understand that he not only, and we're not saying that it won't be, possibly an event where another leader of the Gentiles might go in and declare himself to be God and stuff like that. Like, because we talked about last time how it was this Greek man named Antiochus Epiphanes, and he did that in the past. He did that during the time of the Maccabees, and when he did that, the temple became desolate. They didn't go back, right? So we ain't saying that it's not possible that somebody could possibly do that, but what we know is that the beast is already here. He's been here, and what I was trying to prove through the last teaching was that the abomination that makes desolate has already happened, right? And to a certain extent, and we are desolate because of the abominations, right? Because everything that's an abomination, anything that's against God, we started rattling off in the beginning of the teaching. We went through the slides, talk about the wicked and how his prayers are what? Abomination, right? Anybody who rejects the law his prayers are an abomination. We talked about doing abominable things, us eating abominable things, like all the different things that we do. Those things separated us from Yah. And anytime you separate from Yah, you in the process, or you in the state of being desolate. Being desolate. In other words, people say God forsaken. I don't want to go to that God forsaken place. People say that, right? So anything that's forsaken of Yah is stuff that's in torment, stuff that's destroyed, right? So we've been what? In torment and destroyed, mainly because of our abominable ways, and these things have been put on us by who? The beast. Yes. Right? We took on his ways, we took on his character, we took on everything about him. So because of that. But before we get in there, let's look into that. Let's look into the whole thing about the fourth beast. Let's go back. So let's go to let me pull this up right quick. Oh yeah. One second. All right, let's go to Daniel 7. Because we got to understand this to understand the state that we in and understand what's happening next. Daniel 7 verse 1. In the year of Belshazzar, the king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and a vision upon his head, upon his bed, and he wrote them down and told the sum of the matters. And Daniel spoke and said, I saw my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And four beasts came up from the sea, diverse from one another. Now, so he's telling you already, you got the context that there are four beasts. Four beasts. Okay? So let's get the context. Here we go. The first beast was like a lion. He had eagle's wings, and beheld the wings were plucked. And he was lifted up from the earth, and he was made to sit on his feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it. And I don't got time to break it down because we'll be all day in just that verse, because they go back to Nebuchadnezzar. Mm-hmm. Remember when Nebuchadnezzar sinned against Yah, and Yah what? He turned him into an eagle. He turned him into a bird-like animal, growing with feathers and claws. Man, do we need to go back and read that? Hold on a second, y'all. And that's reminiscent of the first kingdom, which is Babylon. But hold up, let's do that. Hold Daniel 7, I'm gonna forget my place, all right?
Mine. It's mine. This is mine.
All right, Daniel 4. All right. We're not gonna read the whole chapter for time because we won't get through this part of the lesson. Chip, do you need me to come over there? All right, so let's go Daniel 4. We start at man. God, we're gonna have to read that chapter. All right, so let's go. Let's go Daniel 4. Sorry, y'all, we're gonna backtrack so we can fully understand what's going on with these four beasts. And each now, this is the confusion. Now, most of the time, every beast, which is a kingdom, it's a king and a kingdom. You understand what I'm saying? So, because when these empires rise, there's always a leader behind the empire. When Greece rose up, it was Alexander the Great. When Babylon rose up the second time, it was Nebuchadnezzar. When Rome rose up, it was Caesar. Right? So there was always a king behind it, but it was also a kingdom. But anyway, let's get into this. And we're going to go back to Daniel 7. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of all the people, nations, tongues, and all that dwell on the earth. So the first thing you understand is that Nebuchadnezzar is a he's a world ruler. Okay? And so, just like right now, America is a what? World what? Ruler. The president of the United States is called the leader of the what? Free, we call it free world. Ain't nobody free. Yeah. They call it the free world. So in the same position of Nebuchadnezzar. So anyway, verse 2. And I thought it good to show the signs and wonders that High Elohim have wrought toward me. How great are his signs, how great are his wonders, his kingdom is from everlasting kingdom, and his dominion from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in my house, flourishing in my palace, and I saw a dream that made me afraid. And my thoughts was upon my bed, and the visions of my head that troubled me. Therefore I made a decree, and all wise men from Babylon. Now, who can tell me, remember last week we were talking about, well, maybe this week, Habakkuk. Now, in Habakkuk's vision, that the Most High told him to write it and make it plain. He said, the vision ain't for now, it's for appointed time. That's what he said. And at the end, it shall speak. Right? So, but who did he call the people who, at the end, was going to overrun the earth? Who did Habakkuk say they were? Anybody remember? Chaldeans. Chaldeans, Babylonians. So it's not the exact same Babylon. Because we read in Revelation, we're going to hear Yehochanan or John writing about mystery Babylon the Great. Remember he write about that? The mother of all harlots. So he's telling you that the last day system. Now, what is the last day system? The last day system is also called the beast. The beast. Right? The end time system is also called the beast. So whoever this beast is, he's also mystery Babylon. The Babylonians are the Chaldeans. Why? Because the Babylonians were the most powerful. Okay? So let's keep going, because Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, he's ruling over all the nations. Right? Anyway, so he had this dream. Nebuchadnezzar had this dream, and he don't know what's going on. So he decided he don't get people to try to interpret it. Here we go. Then came the magicians, the astrologers, and the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. And I wrote, they were Chaldeans. And I told them the dream before them, and they could not make known to me the interpretation thereof. But at last, Daniel came in before me, whose name is Belshazzar, according to the name of what?
My God.
You talking about slave names? Right? So that's also, I'm just pointing it out, that's also a trend among children of Israel. When the children of Israel go into captivity, the other nations will name them after their gods.
Wow.
Right? So we see that Daniel is in captivity, and he renamed him after their God. Right? So, but anyway, so just like when my people run over here, we got a video, if anybody don't know this, we got a video online, and it has all the names from the transatlantic slave trade. We took the slave records and pulled up names, all these Hebrew names of our people. When they came over here, most people don't understand that the majority of us had Hebrew names when we came here on slave ships. Yes, sir. And it was changed to what? The names of their gods. Just like when Yehuda was in Babylon, they started changing the names. We talk about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That wasn't their name. Hananiah, Azariah, Mishael. Right? Daniel was called Belshazzar. That's not his name. So his name was, all their names were named after the Most High, but anytime they would go into slavery, the Gentiles would name them after their own gods. Right? So anyway, and I behold a dream saying, O Belshazzar, O master of magicians. Do I need to come over there? O master of magicians, because I know the spirit of the set apart Elohims is in thee, and no secret troubleth thee. Tell me the visions of thy dream and interpretation thereof. There were visions in my head and my bed, and I saw a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. And the tree grew and was strong, and had a height that reached unto heaven, and the sight thereof were all the ends of the earth. And the leaves thereof were fair in fruit, thereof much. And then it was meat for all, and the beasts of the field should shadow under it, and the fowls of heaven, and the boughs thereof, and all the flesh were fed of it. Now, there's other scriptures that talk about Israel in the same manner. right? Because Israel and Yehuda are the two olive trees that stand before Yah. Right now, Nebuchadnezzar was a tree, and all the fowls of the air, that's a precept for the other nations. The fowls of the air, if you read through scripture, going all the way back to Deuteronomy 28, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the air are precepts for the other nations. If you read Deuteronomy 28, it's going to say that your carcass, your body, is going to be meat for the fowls of the air and the beasts of the field, right? So right here, you see Nebuchadnezzar has this tree, and all the fowls of the air are lodging in it, and the beasts are resting upon it. Those are the other nations. Okay? So anyway, let's keep going. He cried aloud and said, hew down the tree, cut off his branches, shake out the leaves, and scatter his fruit, that the beast may get away from under it, and for the fowls under his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump and the roots in the earth, even a band of iron and brass and the tinder of the field, let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let the portion of the beast of the grass grow over it. So he's saying, cut him down. But don't do away with what? The root. The root. So what does that mean? It's still going to be established. It's still going to be there. So even when Babylon failed, it didn't go anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? The spirit of Babylon would just transfer from kingdom to kingdom to kingdom to kingdom to kingdom. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, 15. Nevertheless, leave the stump and the root. We just read that. 16. And let his heart be changed from a man's heart, and let a beast's heart be given unto it. See this right here? Now we're talking about the beast. Now it's interesting that the Most High used that terminology when he's talking about that. This whole vision is about Nebuchadnezzar. He's Babylon. Remember, the scripture talks about mystery Babylon is the end times kingdom. Right? So he's a beast. Right? He was a man. Now he has the heart of a beast. Now let's see what happens to him. His heart be changed to the beast heart, and let the heart be given unto him, and let 7 times pass over him. This matter is a decree of the who?
Watchers.
Now somebody, who's the watchers?
Fallen angels.
Fallen angels. All right? So anyway, let's keep going. And demanded by the word of the Holy One. So you got two different groups. You got the Holy Ones, set apart ones. Those are you what? Holy angels. Then you got the watchers who... Anyway, let's keep going. To the tent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth to whomsoever he will, and he setteth up over the basis of men. It's interesting. Now let's keep going. In this dream, I Nebuchadnezzar have seen thou, O Belshazzar, declare the interpretation thereof, for as much all the wise men of the kingdom are not able to make it known unto me the interpretation. But thou art able, for the spirit of the holy Elohims is in thee. Then Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, was astonished for an hour. In other words, he was thinking about it. And his thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said, Belshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation thereof trouble thee. Belshazzar answered and said, my lord, my master, a dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretations thereof to the enemies. Right? The tree that I saw and grew up strong, in the height reaching unto the heaven, and the sight thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof, and it was meat for all, and the beasts of the field that dwelt upon the branches, and the fowls had their habitation. It is thou, O king. It is thou, O king. So he's telling you that this beast is you. Okay? Let's keep going. It was thou, O king, grown and become strong. Thy greatness is grown and reach unto the heavens, thy dominions to the end of the earth. Right? We're talking about the whole thing about the tree. Whereas the king saw a watcher and a holy one coming down from heaven, saying, hew down the tree, destroy it, leave the stump there and roots thereof in the earth, even a band of iron, and the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beast of the field till 7 times pass over. Okay? So it's interesting. But anyway, let's keep going. The interpretation thereof, O king, this is the decree of the Most High, which has come down to the Lord, to the master of the king. And they driven thee before men, and thy dwelling place should be the beast of the field, and thou shalt make thee eat grass and oxen, and thou shalt make thee wet with the dew of heaven. 7 times shall pass over thee, till thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giving it to whomsoever he will. And whereas he commanded thee to leave the stump and the tree and the roots, thy kingdom should be sure unto thee. After that thou shalt have known that heavens do rule. That the heavens do rule. In other words, all this that you got, everything that you set up is not because of you, it's because the Most High gave it to you. Now what did we say in the last teaching? We read the precepts, and it says that the heathen are a sword. The wicked are a sword. So, and then we understand is that they're a sword to the Israelites. Because anytime the Israelites are out of hand, the Most High used other nations to punish them. Right?
Yes, sir.
But it's by his hand. We just read it. He said he set up the basis of men. In other words, the lowest of men, it's our highest esteem to what? Do his will. So when you think about the basis of men, who is that? Think about right now, who is one of the basis of men that's risen up to the highest position?
United States.
Huh?
United States.
United States, but it's a certain person in the United States.
Japan is the Trump.
Donald
Yeah, Trump.
freaking Trump.
Yeah.
The basis of men.
Yeah.
For the Most High was set up to the highest to be what? A sword.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So when it's the same thing as Pharaoh. The Most High set up Pharaoh. He said, I set him up for my glory. Right? So all this tribulation that's coming upon you is a process for my glory to show that in you. Right? So same thing with Donald Trump. The Most High he set Donald Trump up. You know, it's not like when Donald Trump, everybody was shocked. Like, how can he become a president?
Yeah.
He had to become president. Why? Because you Hebrews are too comfortable. So you got to have a sword. The Most High will raise up the basis of men to be a whipping stick for Israel to wake Israel up. Now all of a sudden we think about boycotting, we thinking about coming together, we thinking about doing this, we thinking about doing that. But up until that time when Barack Obama, we thought, oh man, we got somebody. Right? We had got comfortable. So we got the Most High rose up the basis of men to put us in a position like we were in Egypt, where we start to do what? Cry out.
Yeah.
So we start to cry out. Why? Going back to the whole point of the wicked being a sword. So Nebuchadnezzar was the same thing. Let's keep going. And all came upon Nebuchadnezzar at the end of the 12 months. He walked into the palace of Babylon. The king spake this and said, Is not this great Babylon which I have built for the kingdom by the might of his power and honor of thy majesty? The word was in the king's mouth, and the voice fell from heaven. O Nebuchadnezzar, is well spoken thee. The kingdom is departed from thee. So the kingdom was taken from him. So we're going to read all that for time. Let's skip down. No, we'll go ahead. Next two verses. And they shall drive thee from men, and the dwelling place shall be with the beasts of the field, and they shall make thee eat grass as oxen. 7 times shall pass over thee. That's a completion. 7 is a completion. Right? Pass over thee until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and I will give it to whomsoever he will. Right? The same hour, this thing was fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and what happened to him?
He was
Driven from men.
And he did what?
grass.
And he grass and oxen. And his
Keep
body
going.
was wet in the dew of heaven, till the hairs were growing like eagles.
Like what?
Like eagles.
Like what?
Like eagles. Like eagle feathers.
Like eagle's feathers. And his nails were like what?
Bird's claws. Wow.
Now let's go back. Let's go back to Daniel 7. Right? Verse 4. The first was like a lion. And he had what?
Eagle's wings.
Until the wings were what?
Plucked up, it plucked and it was lifted up from the earth.
Right? And made it stand on his feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it. Right? Because remember he had a man's heart, and then the Most High said, give him a heart of a beast.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? The first, verse 5. And behold, another beast. So that was the first beast. And we know that was Babylon, right? The reminiscent of Nebuchadnezzar. And he had eagle's wings, right? Now, you can parallel that with other scriptures. When a scripture says that, if you read in Deuteronomy 28, it talk about another nation will come and take you into slavery. And it said they're going to be swift as the what? Eagles. Swift as the eagle. So Babylon, his first representation is royal, kingly, a lion, but he has eagle's wings. Right? So anyway, that's the first beast. And behold, the second beast like unto a bear, and he raised up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in his mouth between his teeth. And he said, thus arise and devour much flesh. And after this, I looked, behold, a leopard. So let's go back to the second beast. So the second beast is a bear. Now this is a little more straightforward. The second beast is Persia. Okay? It's Persia. And when Persia rose up, it was fast like the Greeks. The Persian kingdom rose up really fast. They were really aggressive. But the reason why the bear has 3 ribs in its mouth, because there was 3 kingdoms that the Medes and the Persians uprooted to get where they were. Right? So he's a bear, he got 3 ribs in his mouth, meaning that he's devoured the 3 other kingdoms that was before him. Right? They rose up into power.
No.
So anyway, that's your second beast, right? Let's get to the third beast. And after this, behold, like a what?
Leopard.
And on his back had the wings of a what?
A fowl.
And the beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given unto it. So that's Alexander the Great.
Okay.
That's the Greeks. I remember when we went through this teaching and I showed you. Matter of fact, let's do this. Let's go back to this picture right quick. Let me show y'all this. Now remember, in Habakkuk 1:7-9, it says, they are terrible and dreadful, and their judgment and their dignity shall proceed from themselves. The hosts are swifter than the what? Leopards, and more fierce than the evening wolves. And I'll get to that in a second. And the horsemen shall spread themselves, and the horsemen shall come from far. They shall fly as the eagle. Remember that Nebuchadnezzar had what? Feathers like an eagle and claws. That's what the Most High did to him. They shall come up for violence. Their faces shall sub up the east wind. They shall gather the captivity, as it's saying. In other words, they're going to capture all the Israelites and bring them into captivity. And I was telling you about the leopard. The Greeks worshiped the god Dionysus. Dionysus' symbol was the leopard. The Roman symbol was the eagle. Right? So that's what your eagle's wings. That's your leopard. So anyway, back to Daniel 7. Verse 6, and behold, another like a leopard, which had 4 wings like a fowl, and the beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given unto it. So somebody answer this. Why did the leopard have 4 heads?
2 down, 4 places, 4 countries.
Close. That's part of it. What's the other part of it? Anybody else can tell me?
The 4 corners of the earth.
That's the closest answer. So, Alexander the Great.
He had like 4 people after he died. His nation was split between 4 of his
Generals.
Generals, yeah.
Alexander the Great had 4 generals, and when he died, remember he only lived like 30 something, right? When he died, he split his kingdom up under his 4 generals, and his 4 generals took over all those areas that they ruled over, and it ended up being whittled down to 2 different kings, the Ptolemy and Seleucid. Ptolemy took
Alexandria.
Yeah, Seleucid.
Egypt.
Yeah, Egypt, and they were the north and south. So you hear about the king of the north, king of the south. You read Daniel, that's what it's talking about. The 2 kings that was left under Alexander the Great. So that's why it says that the leopard had 4 heads. Those are literally 4 heads, the 4 generals that Alexander the Great had. So we done talked about Babylon, and we done talked about Persia. Babylon was the first beast, right? And you can look at Babylon and Assyria, because Babylon was part of Assyria. So Babylon did what? They took the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom into captivity, right? After that, it was the Persians. What did they do? They took Israel into captivity, right? After that, it was the Greeks. What did the Greeks do? They took Israel into captivity. So let's look at this last beast. And if I saw in a night vision, behold, a what? A 4th beast.
Dreadful and terrible and strong and exceedingly.
And it had what?
It had great iron teeth.
Keep reading.
It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it.
The residue, that's the remnant. Stomp the residue, the remnant, with the feet of it. Keep going.
And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
Keep going.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, in his horns were eyes like the eyes of man, and the mouth speaking great things.
Keep going.
And I beheld till the thrones were cast down in the ancient days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flames, and the wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened.
Let's stop right there, because we can keep getting on the tangent. But so the 4th kingdom, if you know it from history, who rose up after Greeks?
The Romans.
The Romans. Rome is the 4th beast. Rome is the 4th beast. That's when it says it stamps the residue with his feet. We can go to Revelation. It says that. Let's go ahead and do that. We got to rehash this before we get going. All right. Right, finish this. Somebody read 25 while I find this. Read verse 25.
7. Daniel 7. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. And think to change times and laws, and they shall be given unto his hand until a time and times and dividing of time.
All right, stop right there. Read it again. Read it slow.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and dividing of time.
All right, so he still seek to change times and laws. So what times and laws is he trying to change?
The Sabbath, holy feast days.
Remember, this is a what book? A Hebrew book, right? So when it says change times and laws, it's not talking about gay marriage. It ain't talking about tax breaks. It ain't talking about political things. It's talking about prophecies. So when it says change times and laws, you got to understand who changed the times. So what does the Bible say about times? They're called appointed times, the feast days, the holy days, right? Those are called the times in Scripture. What are the laws? Those are the laws, statutes, and commandments. So whoever the fourth beast is, if I say fourth beast, he changed the times, the appointed times. He also changed the laws, statutes, and commandments. Now, who did that? We know that was the Romans. Going at Constantine. Constantine said, I reject everything that's of the Hebrews. He said, I reject their feast days, their Sabbaths, their new moons. He said, but I embrace the Sola Fide, which is the day of the sun, and the feast days of the Romans. And so that's how all that changed. It started with Constantine. Constantine was a holy Roman Empire. So let's look at it like this. You had initial. Remember, he said there was 3 kings that was plucked up. You had the first. You had the papal Rome. Not papal Rome. You had Caesar's Rome. After that, you had papal Rome, and now you have the new Rome, right? Which is revived Rome. Because what happened? You had for the original Roman Empire under Caesar. Then after that, you had a papal Rome that rose up, and then you had what? What happened after then? The Renaissance. The Renaissance, which was what? They call it the rebirth. All right, hold on a second. Let me see if I can find this real quick. All right. Let's go to Revelation 13. And shalom everybody online. I'm not intentionally trying to ignore you. I'm just trying to get through this real fast. All right. So Revelation 13. Somebody read that. Just start from 1.
And I stood up unto the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea.
A beast rising up out of the sea. So we know that there was 4 beasts according to Daniel, right? Okay, so let's keep going.
Having 7 heads and 7 horns, and upon the horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the names of blasphemy.
Keep going.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
He was like to what?
Like a leopard.
So he has a tie back to Greece.
Wow.
If you study the Roman language, you find it come out of what? Greek, right? And Latin. Those 2 things mixed together. Let's keep going.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
All right, so he has the feet of a bear, which means he moves like the Persians, right? Remember, the Persian was the bear, the Second Empire. All right, let's keep going.
And his mouth of the mouth of a lion.
So what he teaches is Babylonian. He has the mouth of a lion. Babylon was the first kingdom. So the things that he teach it ties back to Babylon, right? So when we talked about sun worship, went through the whole teaching about sun worship and how everything in Christianity ties back to sun worship. Sun worship was birthed in Babylon.
Right. Yeah.
All right, keep going.
And the dragon gave his power and the seat and great authority.
All right, so it's Hasatan. Hasatan is the ruler of this world. He is the Elohim of this world, right? So he gives this beast great power. Remember when we just read how Nebuchadnezzar, before he fell, it was by who? The decree of the who? It's by decree of the who? Nebuchadnezzar. When he got turned into a beast and all that, it was by the
Most High did this.
Most High did it, but who declared it though?
The Watchers and
the Watchers.
The Watchers and the Holy
And the fallen angels. The holy angels, the other words, the principalities.
Yeah.
They adorned it. They adorned it. They ordained it. right? And then he went to this place. So it's the same deal. Right here you're saying it's Hasatan. He's over the watchers. He's over the prince and powers of this world. So he's ordained this beast to be where he is. Because again, what we talked about, the wicked are a sword, right? Because he's raising up.
Yeah.
Say it again?
The Chaldeans, yeah.
The Chaldeans, going back to Habakkuk. Habakkuk said what? He said that the Chaldeans would do this, but it's for appointed time. You understand what I'm saying? In other words, it's in the future. Hold that, let's go back to Habakkuk.
Good.
All right?
She just keep on doing whatever. I didn't do one thing.
Habakkuk 1. The burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. Oh yeah, how long shall I cry? How long will thou not hear? So remember now, why is it saying that he won't hear? Why? Because we're seeing that they're under judgment. Israel is under judgment. We read in Revelation, they're under judgment. They're under captivity of the beast. Right? We read in Daniel 7, they under the captivity of who? Nebuchadnezzar, which is one of the beasts. Right? So they're in affliction. So let's get back. He says, oh yeah, how long shall I cry? How long will thou not hear? How long out of thee violence and wilt thou not save? In other words, are you going to come save us? Right? Why dost thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? For the spoiling of violence come upon me, and there is a rife and strife and contention. I said it wrong altogether. Strife and contention. Wherefore the law is slacked. Now why is the law slacked? Now what did the beast say he's going to do?
Change the law.
Change times and laws.
True.
Okay? Therefore the law is slack and judgment does not go forth. For the wicked doth compass the righteous. Now that means they overflow. That means they control. I wanted to get into the scripture, which we're not going to do today, but in Jeremiah I talk about the regathering of Israel. And one of the things is, which is interesting, he used the same terminology. He says, Yah says, behold, I'll do a new thing. He says, a woman shall compass a man. Right? This during the time of the regathering of Israel. So what does that mean? Now, it's funny that we in the midst of 2018, 2019, which is the end of our captivity, and they calling this year the what? The year of what? The
For
woman.
the woman.
Me Too movement, right? They call it the year of the woman. But if we go to Jeremiah this year, the Most High says, when he talks about the regathering of Israel, he says, behold, he said, I do a new thing. He's like, a woman shall compass a man. It's never been that way until now.
Right.
Seriously.
They dropping like flies.
Yeah.
And he said that he's doing a new thing. It's not like he's the one that's doing it.
Right. It's by his hand. Because go back to what? He says everything that's hidden should be what? Uncovered.
Yeah.
Right? So when it says the wicked shall compass the righteous, that means they overcoming them. Just the same way, like again, the women are now overcoming. They're in our society now, right? They're raising up. So anyway, verse 5, behold the heathen, behold ye among the heathen. Remember that's with Shaul, remember when he was in Antioch? And he said, beware lest this come upon you. Yeah. What was written in the prophets, he started quoting this because he knew that in the future this whole thing was going to happen, but they didn't fully understand it. That's why Shaul said, remember Shaul says, we only see through a glass darkly. Now look, if you look, imagine you looking through like a plexiglass window with some stain on it. He looked at the window, they didn't really fully understand that you could see like shadows and figures of it. So they understood that it was this humongous event that was coming that was going to crush the people, but they didn't know how it was going to come. So that's what he's quoting. When he's quoting Habakkuk, he knew that was what Habakkuk was talking about. All this time during church, we've been taking that, talking about prosperity and all this other nonsense. No, it's talking about this current captivity that we're in. So let's keep going. Behold ye among the heathen, regard wondrously and marvelously, for I will show you a work in your days that you will not believe, though it was told to you. For I will raise up the who?
Chaldeans.
For I will raise up the who?
Chaldeans.
Right? That bitter and hasty nation which shall march through the breadth of the land and possess the dwelling places that are what?
Not theirs.
Now let's go back to Revelation. What was that? Revelation 13? Right? Verse 2. And the beast I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was as a bear, and his mouth was as a lion. Right? And the dragon gave him power and authority, just like Nebuchadnezzar. It was the decree of the watchers. And I saw one of his heads was wounded unto what?
Death.
Death. Right? And his deadly wound was what?
Healed.
And all the world wanted after the beast. That is the Renaissance. The deadly wound that was healed. Rome rose up. There was this massive empire. And if you go back to Daniel, remember he said there was three horns that was plucked up. Then there was another horn that came up speaking what blasphemies. Right? So you had the original Rome. After that, you had papal Rome. After that, you had the Renaissance. And out of the Renaissance came the mystery schools. And if you go, all of it was wicked, but that's where the mystery schools, all the stuff came out of. And on top of it, that's the time when they started whitewashing us.
That's where we get like all of our classical,
Right.
yeah, like how we get like our westernized system basically from the Renaissance.
Right.
I'm in English class now. That's in the poems. It's a lot about religion then.
Right. Well,
Even then.
y'all read about Francis Bacon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
really about Mary Shelley and yeah, we read that. I can't think of the other man's name. I just know one. He was big. He was talking about it. One thing he wrote, he was just saying how he didn't really agree with the
Right.
word. He just knew that it was right, the right thing. He didn't want to let his thinking interrupt him believing the right way just because how he was thinking. I was like,
Well, going back to that, so out of the Renaissance, that's when, again, that's the time when they started basically wiping us out of history. That's the time when the people talk about the Illuminati. The Illuminati was born during the time of the Renaissance. Freemasons, all that kind of stuff. It all came out of that time period. Go ahead.
and even then, they was all about people a family that had power or money to keep it that way. It
Right.
was one person wrote that if you was poor, you were just born to be poor. You should learn to accept it.
Right.
Wow, really?
Accept it and die and go to heaven. Yeah.
Well, during that also time, that's when you had the Pope, who put out the papal bull that enslaved all the sub-Saharan Africans. And he said that the sub-Saharan Africans, which are the Hebrew Israelites, so that they should be in perpetual slavery.
Yeah.
Perpetual slavery. So going back to all this, so now what you're seeing what's going on. So you see that Rome that's why he has a deadly wound he was supposed to been dead. But he revives. So going back to, that's what Renaissance is called, the rebirth.
After the Dark Ages.
After the what? Dark Ages.
Our time.
The time that we rule.
We
You see what I'm saying? So it almost like they was dead. People don't, and we can get to this, it'll be taking forever, but if you start studying the time of the Dark Ages, the reason why they call it the Dark Ages is because that's the time that the quote-unquote Moors ruled Europe. And then when you understand what Moor means, the Moor, all Moor means is black. That's all it means.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But if you know history, when Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD, the Romans took Israelites and they brought them to Europe. They brought them to Great Britain. They brought them to France. They brought them to Spain. They brought them to all these other places. And in 470, when Rome fell, the original Rome fell, then the Hebrews that was in those areas rose up and took over those lands and became the kings and queens. So the modernized culture that's in the UK, it came from the Israelites. Mm-hmm. And I got a video, get a chance, go watch Hebrew West Africa Revisited, and I talk about all that, and I show the images, and I break down the names. That's why you got all these names that they had, like James and all this other stuff. James come from Jacob, or Jacob, right? You start seeing the first Saxons. If you break down the word Anglo-Saxon back to the root, it means angelic sons of Isaac. So, but after the fall, around about 1470, because it was, and the crazy thing, it was about 1,000 years. People talk about the millennial reign. It was about 1,000 years that the Israelites was ruling in that area. And then when the Europeans took back over in like around the 1400s, they started driving us out. That's why in 1492, they teach you in school, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. What they ain't gonna tell you is that in 1492 was when the last Hebrew kingdoms was destroyed. 1492 was when Askia Muhammad came into power in West Africa and crushed the last Hebrew empire that was in I think Ghana. 1492 is when the Hebrews that was in Spain and Portugal started to get ran out of Spain and Portugal and sold as slaves and brought back to West Africa. So saying all that to say, I don't want to get on, I'm off on a tangent. But saying all that to say, so what you're seeing is, I'm trying to show you about this beast. So let's keep reading. Now, so the deadly wound was when they fell. That's in 470. So in 470, when Rome fell, it's like Rome was dead. It's over, right? But they had this the whole time called the Renaissance, when they was born again. They was rebirth. right? And the whole world did what wonders. Everybody started falling after the traditions and everything that the Romans did at that time, to even to now, right? Everything in America is based off, like you said, based off that time. You go to the, that's why we got the Senate, right? The Senate comes from Greece, well, it's borrowed by the Rome and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we can talk about that all day. We get to a point. So, and when his heads were wounded to death, and the deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast, and they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like unto the beast? And who is able to make war with him?" They say that right now. You go to somebody, you tell them, "Man, you see what's going on with North Korea? You see what's going on with Syria? You see what's going on?" And you're like, "Man, America's going on no judgment." They're like, "Man, can't nobody. Who can make war with America?
Right.
Who can do anything to America? America can't fall." Like, you understand what I'm saying? It's the same mindset. And again, like, Babylon is a whole system, but America is the military power of the Babylonian system, right? So in their mindset, they say the same thing today. Who can make war with America? And it's true. Who can make war with America? So we'd be all day if I keep precepting this, but let's go back to Jeremiah. So with Jeremiah prophesied the fall of Babylon. The question he asks, he says, "How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder?" Is what he says. How can the hammer of the whole earth, in other words, how can the most powerful nation on the earth be crushed? It's unfathomable. When you start thinking about the weapons that the United States have, it's a whole nother, people don't understand. If you're online, those of you haven't even heard, have y'all heard of DARPA? DARPA? Defense Advanced Weapons and Research Program we got in America. It is sci-fi. The weapons that the United States got are they're so high tech, people can't even imagine. If they unleashed all the weapons that the United States have, it'd be something like out of a sci-fi movie. I'm telling you. They got these things, you get a chance, go research, go look up on DARPA, they got these things, they call them dogs. That can carry backpacks when they go out. They're robots, autonomous robots, can climb and know where to go and all this other stuff. They got this thing called a Titan robot. They can walk upstairs and do whatever they got. They got another thing called the cheetah that can run up to 40 miles per hour. Run up to 40 miles per hour. They got
mosquito.
Then they got the mosquito. It's a drone that has it's literally this big and it's made like a mosquito, and it has a syringe in it that can carry poison. They can fly into it and inject you, and you would die. Nobody have no idea what's going on with you. I'm not making this up. Go research DARPA. You're going to see all this stuff. When you start to understand how high-tech the United States is and the weapons that they have, this is why Trump is like, "Man, I don't care. Y'all S-hole countries. Y'all can't do that against us. We the United States." To a certain extent, he's true. What he don't realize is this is by the decree of the watchers. This is by the decree of the watchers.
What chapter and verse was that in Jeremiah? You said it was
About cutting asunder?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Oh man. Oh, Jeremiah 50, verse 23. Let's go ahead and go there, so we already done now. One day we're gonna get through this lesson, y'all. Alright, Jeremiah 50, verse 21. Matter of fact, we just saw that in Revelation when they said, "Who is able to make war with the beast?" They have the same. If we read Jeremiah has verses that speak the same kind of thing. When Babylon says, "I'll never see the loss of children, and I never see widowhood." In other words, nobody's ever gonna take me down, right? So anyway, Jeremiah 50. We ain't gonna read all that because we ain't got time. But let's go 19. Let's go 18. Therefore says Yah of armies, and the Elohim of Israel, "Behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land as I have punished the king of Assyria. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation. He shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Ephraim and Gilead. In those days, and in that time, saith Yah." I'm going to ask you a question. We're going to find out, has this already happened before? In those days, and in that time, saith Yah, what does it say?
Iniquity of Israel shall be sought for.
And what?
There shall be none.
Has that happened yet?
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet. We still in sin. We still in sin, right?
Yeah.
We still trying to come out of sin. So you know that this prophecy is about a future time. It's not Nebuchadnezzar falling. This is another Babylon. Because he said during that time, in those days, in that time, he says the iniquity of Israel is going to be sought for, but there won't be none. In other words, they're going to be turned from all their sins and all their iniquities. That has not happened yet. Let's keep going.
And the sins of Judah.
And the sins of Yehuda. Yehuda got a whole bunch of sins that's going on right now.
True.
They haven't happened yet. So let's keep going. They should not be found. Fall apart in them whom unreserved. Here we go. Go up against the land of Merathaim. Even go up against the inhabitants of Pekah and utterly destroy them. For Yah, saith Yah, I'm saying, according to all that I've commanded thee, the sound of battle is in this land and of great destruction. Check this out. Somebody read 23 for me.
How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How was Babylon become a desolation among the nations?
Right? So you ask the question, how is it possible? It's not possible. But it's by decree of the watchers in the Most High. So that's why it's going to be such a shock to the nations. Remember, you can flip back to Revelations, and when Babylon destroyed, it says that all the other nations watching it, they said, how's this happen? They start wigging out. Because they're not going to be ready for it. Nobody's going to be ready for it. What's coming? Okay? So anyway, and he gonna tell you why. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art taken, O Babylon. Thou was not aware. You understand? Thou was not aware. Thou art found and caught because thou hast striven against Yah. Yah has opened his armory. He has brought forth the weapons of his indignation for the work of Yah of armies in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the uttermost border and open her storehouses, cast up her heaps, utterly destroy her, and let nothing be left. Slay out her bullets, let them go down to the slaughter, woe unto them, for the day of the time of their visitation, for the voice of thee that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare what?
The sign of the vengeance of the Lord your Elohim.
Declare where?
Vengeance.
And where?
In Zion.
In Zion.
Yeah.
Those who escape. You talking about going to the wilderness? Those who escape the judgment that's coming on here, they're going to go back to Zion and they're going to declare the judgment. They're going to be glad that this thing happened. Let's read it again. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yah our Elohim and the vengeance of his temple. Now let's think about this now. And the vengeance of his temple. Well, who destroyed the temple?
Who destroyed the temple? The Romans.
The Romans. Okay. So the Romans think they good. They destroyed Jerusalem. They destroyed the temple. They destroyed the people. And now they done went down in time. They done migrated. Because if you know anything about the Britons are descendants of the Romans. The Brits came and colonized America. And they took Yah's people into captivity. And they think they good, but this is what's coming. And we can read all this other stuff, but we ain't got time for all that. Let's go to Revelation 13 again. And then we finally gonna get into this lesson. All right, Revelation 13, where we at? We at 3? Okay. And I saw one of his heads was wounded to death, and the wound of his deadly wound was healed, and the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon and gave power to the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with them? Behold, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? Right? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth and blasphemed against Elohim, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given him to make war with the who?
Saints.
With the who?
Saints.
Now, the saints are the set apart ones. They are the chosen people. So he's given to be able to make war with the saints, to overcome them, and power was given over him. All kindreds, nations, and tongues that dwell upon the earth shall worship them, whose names are not written in the Lamb's book of life, and is slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have the ear, let him hear. If any man have an ear to hear, let him hear. Let him hear what? Somebody read the next verse.
He that leads to captivity shall go into captivity. He that killed the sword must be killed with the sword. He impatient with the faith of the saints.
He that leads into captivity must go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. That is Jeremiah. We're about to go back to that again. So he's telling you, what does that mean? He that leads into slavery must go into slavery. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. What? This is the patience of the saints. So what is that telling you? It's telling you that it was the saints that was two things. What? Led into captivity and killed with the sword. It is for my sake that you're what? That you're what? It's for my sake that you're what? Somebody finish that line for me. Killed all the day long. Killed all the day long. So what is that saying? Christianity done taught us that when we read that scripture, we think, oh, it's people who, people that's obeying Jesus, and because they obey Jesus, they're persecuted. No. When the scripture says that you will be hated of all nations for my sake, that's because of what happened to me. Because of your rejection of me, which is the rejection of the law, statutes, and commandments, by the way. If you reject Mashiach, you're rejecting the law, statutes, and commandments. Because he is the law, statutes, and commandments. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was, and the Word became flesh. He is the law, statutes, and commandments. So we're about to go back to Isaiah in a minute and prove that, right? So saying to say, because of him, we've what? Entered into captivity. When Mashiach was with them, he says, oh, Jerusalem. He says, how often I would have gathered you together like a hen gather her chicks. He says, but because you didn't know the time of your visitation, behold, your house is left unto you desolate. Desolate. Going back to desolation. So, again, when you read this, when it says, he that leads into captivity must go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience of the saints. Are you going to be able to endure until the end? Endure is what? To suffer until the end. Why? Because the beast is going to give what? He is going to have power to what? Overcome the saints. He's going to overcome you. We go back to Daniel. He said he's going to tread down the residue. He's going to tread down the remnant. You turn on your television, we getting shot for no reason. We getting killed for no reason. They poison our foods. They poison our waters. They do everything they can to make you the least. Will you endure until the end? That's the question. Can you make it? Well, Mashiach is what? A sanctuary. Even in your captivity. But you won't survive. Why? Because the curses of the law of Deuteronomy 28 going to come upon you because of your disobedience. You have to return back to the law, statutes, commandments to be what? To be able to survive the onslaught of the beast. But let's read it. He that leads it. Remember now, he said, he that hath the ear, let him hear. In other words, if you can understand this, you're going to get it. He that leads into slavery must go into slavery. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. This is the patience of the saints. This is how they endure. This is what they have to go through. Alright? So anyway, and y'all get the idea. We can keep going on and on and on. But I just want to show you and prove that the fourth beast, which is the beast, is Rome. It's Rome. Rome is revived. They call it a Renaissance. America is the daughter of Rome. But America borrows from everywhere. So they borrow from Babylon. They borrow from Rome. They borrow from Egypt. Right? They borrow from all these different cultures, and they've created Mystery Babylon. The great, the what? Mother of all harlots. So we end this captivity. Now let's go. Let's finally get into the lesson, which we probably only gonna do like 5 minutes, so I ran out too much. All right, so here we go. So let's go to Isaiah 8.
Yeah. This is the goal. This is the boy here. Up. Turn it. No.
We start at 14. Now when we talking about being in this captivity, because the scripture tells you that the last beast, the fourth beast, is going to tread you down. Right? So the only way you're going to be able to escape this captivity is return back. First of all, you got to be born again. We're about to get to that. And you got to walk in the law, statutes, commandments. 13. Sanctify Yah of armies himself. Right? Let him be your fear. Who? Yah of armies, right? And let him be your dread. Who? Yah of armies, right? And he, who? Yah of armies, right? Shall be a what?
Sanctuary.
But for a what?
Stone.
And for a what?
For a rock of offense.
To what?
The house of Israel.
And a what?
And a gin for the snare of the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Read 15.
Many among shall stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken.
So it is for who? It's Mashiach, right? Hold on a second. I'll pull this up in a second. We see that he is going to be for what? A rock of stumbling an offense. Hold on a second, remember, I can't type this and do this at the same time. Cause alright, so let's go.
Wow.
Let's go Luke 2.
Want my paper back.
Alright, so I ain't gonna read all this for time so we can try to get some of this done before we leave. But if you read Luke 2 in verse 1, it's gonna talk about this brother named Simeon. Well, let's start 25. And behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon, or Shimon. He was a man that was just and devout, waiting for the consolation of Israel. In other words, of the salvation of Israel.
Stop.
Right? And the Ruach HaKodesh was upon him. Chill. Stop. Stop it. Stop that.
Sure.
My bad. Verse 26. And it was revealed to him by the Ruach HaKodesh that he should not see death before he have seen the Lord's Mashiach, or Yah's Mashiach. And he came with the Ruach to the temple. And when the parents brought the child Yahushua or Yahusha to do for him, that was custom of the law. We know when the child is born, go back to Leviticus, there's certain things you got to do, right? 28. Then he took him up in his arms and blessed Yah and said, Yah, now lettest thou servant depart in peace according to thy word, for my eyes have seen the salvation, right? Which thou hast prepared before the face of all the people to lighten the Gentiles and the glory of thy people Israel. And Joseph and his mother marveled at the things that were spoken of him. In other words, they knew what was going on, but even them was like, man, what in the world? So it's like, is that serious? That this brother was saying, like, I can die now.
Wow.
I seen the salvation of Israel when Mashiach was born. All right. So anyway, let's keep going. Remember now, during this time, they were seeking salvation. They were in the land and they was in captivity to who? Rome. Going back to the beast, the fourth beast is Rome. America is the daughter of Rome. He's also the daughter of Babylon. Let's keep going. 35. Yea, I swore shall pierce through my soul also in my thoughts. My bad, what was that? I was at 34, right? 34.
Yeah, 34.
And Shimon blessed them and said unto Miriam, his mother, behold, thy child is set for the what?
The fall and the rising of Israel.
The what?
The fall and the rising again in the many of Israel.
And that what?
And then the signs which shall be spoken against.
A sign that should be so. We know what the sign is. Behold, a virgin shall be with child. We can get to that's a whole nother discussion. But it says, this child is for the fall and the rise again of many in Israel. So let's go back to Isaiah 8:14. For he shall be a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense to both houses. Not one house. Both houses of Israel. Remember, because he's the Torah made flesh, right? Both houses rejected the Torah, they went into captivity. He that leads into captivity must do what? Go into captivity. He that kills the sword must be killed with a sword. This is the what? Patience of the saints. For a gin and for a snare of the habitation of Jerusalem. For many shall stumble. Let me say, this child is for the what? Fall and rise again of many in Israel. They should be fallen, broken, and snare, and taken. Bind up the testimony and seal the what? Among my disciples. So we get into context now. So let's move on to finally get into the second slide. We read Luke 2, so we ain't got to get that. We already got that. So let's go back. Let's go to Jeremiah 13. So this is the reason why they're going back to desolation. So not only were they cast out. Remember we talked about how Scripture says that when salt has lost its savor, it is good for what?
Nothing.
But to be what?
Treasure upon, or thrown out.
And tread upon by for the men, right? We just read in Daniel and it says the beast is going to do what? Tread the what? Remnant. That's the parallel. Well, so when Mashiach said when the salt has lost its savor, it's good for nothing but to be cast out and tried from the men. Then it's a prophecy. It's not a Hebraism. It's a prophecy. It's time back to Daniel when Daniel said when he saw the beast and it said the beast what? Tread down the residue of the people, or tread down the remnant. Who was that? That's Rome. That's the current system. Well, if we go back to if we go to Revelations.
No.
Let me read this. I gotta prove this to you. Hold on a second.
No. Don't put it like that. So.
Before we go go to that.
No.
It's a great city. The 8. Is it Revelation 18? All right, let's go Revelation 18. Real fast. I'm gonna read it real fast. 18 verse 21. And the mighty angel took up a great millstone, cast into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall the city of Babylon be thrown down, and shall no longer be found at all. And the voice of harpers and musicians and pipers and all these other things. Skip down for time. Verse 24. And in her was found the blood of the who?
Prophets,
And of the who?
saints,
And all that were what?
slain upon the earth.
So whoever this kingdom is, they're responsible for the deaths of everybody. But I'm trying to figure. Hold on a second. That's not the verse I'm looking for. Oh man, hold on a second. I might not be able to find it right now. But anyway, I ain't pulling up the right scripture in Revelation. But if you go into Revelation, you're gonna see with John, when he talks about mystery Babylon, he calls it the city that rules over all the nations of the earth. That's what he said. He told you that Babylon is the city that rules over all nations of the earth. But if you know, during John's time, Rome was a city that ruled over all nations of the earth. All right? So anyway, go back to Jeremiah 13. And where we at time? Okay, we might get some of this back. Alright. So it is Rome who has both got Israel in physical desolation and in spiritual desolation. Because Rome has done what? Rome has captured the mind and the bodies of the Hebrew Israelites. Christianity was birthed where? Rome. Islam was birthed where? You know your history, Rome. If you don't know that, y'all do some research, you find out. You got to understand that the Prophet Muhammad, his mentors were Roman Catholics. His wife was a Roman Catholic nun. You just go on and on and on and on and on. And you do your research, you're going to tie it back. Islam came from Catholicism. As a matter of fact, the Quran is a compilation of scriptures from the Torah, from the Buri Hadashah, and these crazy writings that they came up with. It's a plagiarized book. But the scriptures that they have in the New Testament are, if you search them and understand them, you'll find out that they went from our Bible, it's from the Catholic Bible. From the Catholic Bible. So Rome is the birthplace of all the Abrahamic faiths, air quotes. All the faiths that we are caught up in. So now again, sin is a transgression of the law, right? When we transgress the law, we're cut off.
Right.
When we're cut off, we're put into desolation. Right? So right now, because of this Rome, because of the doctrine and the teaching of Rome, which we read in Revelation, we saw that fourth beast has the mouth of who? Babylon, of the lion. Right? And we can go further, and it says that he speaks like a he speaks like a, my bad, he looks like a lamb, but he speaks like a lion. He speaks like a dragon, I'm sorry. Because the whole concept of that is he's showing you like he's innocent. He's showing you like he's righteous, but secretly he's devious. So as long as we remain in these religions, as long as we remain in that mindset, as long as we look at things like our oppressors, because these people also are oppressors. You understand what I'm saying? Then we're going to be forever cut off. As long as we cut off, we're in desolation. Jeremiah 13. Thus says Yah unto me. We're going to get through this today? Oh, we might too. Okay, I'm trying to read it fast. Thus says Yah unto me, go and get thee a linen girdle. So this is Jeremiah, right? Or Jeremiah. So the first thing Yah tell me, said, all right, look, go get you a girdle. Now, if you know anything about a girdles were these sashes that almost like a belt that the tribes would wear, and sometimes it was specific to your tribe. You might have a certain type of like girdle, and it's for your family, right? But it's almost like how you show your family pride. So the first thing he does is he go, he'll go and get that. He go get that girdle. That girdle represents his tribe, his family, and all that. You know what I'm saying? His lineage. That girdle. Let's read about it. Thus says Yah unto me, go get thee a linen girdle and put it about their loins and put it not in water. I got the girdle according to the word of Yah, and I put it upon my loins. And Yah said unto me a second time, saying, take the girdle that hast thou got, and take it to the arise and go where?
To the lions. To the rise go to Euphrates.
Euphrates, right?
Euphrates, yeah.
So rise and go to Euphrates. Well, where's Euphrates?
In
Babylon.
What is that?
So go to the Euphrates. Go to where? Babylon. And do what? And hide it there in the hole of a rock. So this thing, now you can, I'm just going to give you the context. The girdle is your family. That's your heritage.
the rock
And everything. And hide it in the rock in Babylon.
Wow.
Right? Leave it there. Now, do you know how far Jerusalem is from the Euphrates? You know how far Jeremiah had to go to leave from where he was to go all the way to the Euphrates and hide it in a rock? I forget. I used Yoshiyahu did teach on this. I forget how many miles it is. It was over a couple hundred something miles. And he had to travel to go put this thing, which is your heritage, your lineage, and your family, and go hide it in this rock in Babylon. Now listen what happens now. So I went and hid it in the Euphrates as Yah has commanded me by the Euphrates. And when it came past after many days, they said unto me, arise, go to the Euphrates, and take the girdle from thence, which I commanded thee to hide there. So he went back to Jerusalem. He went all the way to the Euphrates. Now he coming all the way back to Jerusalem. And then as he get to Jerusalem, he said, okay, now it's time to go back and get it again. So Jeremiah gets up again and travels a couple hundred something miles and goes back to the Euphrates. Listen what happens now. Verse 7. And I went to the Euphrates and I digged and took from the girdle from the place where I had hid it. And behold, the girdle was what? Marred, right? Marred. That means destroyed.
Wow.
Destroyed. That's your heritage. That's your family. That's everything that represents who you are. Now it's destroyed. It's been left in Babylon. Right? And now it's destroyed and it's marred. Now listen what happens. It was profitable for what?
Nothing.
When a salt has lost its savor, it is good for what?
Nothing.
But to be what?
Under the feet of men.
cast out.
Cast out and trodden under the foot of men.
Yeah.
So going back to Mashiach, Mashiach said, if you had known the time of your visitation, I would have gathered you together. This is what he's saying. If they had understood who he was, there would have been no captivity. If the whole nation, because you know some of them was did, there was a whole bunch of them that did, but if the entire nation had repented and understood who he was, he said himself, he would have gathered everybody then. Then when it happened, it wouldn't have happened now, it would be in the future. When he came the first time, he would have gathered everybody together if they knew the time of their visitation. They did not. But he says, behold, your house is going to lay unto you what? Desolate. Desolate. And you still desolate, because even though now you in these religions that claim that they talk about Mashiach, it is not talking about Mashiach. Everything that he taught, it teaches you the opposite of it.
Right.
Rome has taught you, you drunk of that cup, and everything that Mashiach came to do, they making you do the opposite. He said, I come to establish what my father basically has done. They tell you that he came to destroy it.
Right.
Yeah.
He tells you when a rich young ruler come to him, he says, if you should enter into life, keep the commandments. That's what he told him.
Right.
Yeah. But you in a religion where they tell you don't keep the commandments, and if you keep the commandments, it's a curse. Rome has infected your mind. Babylon has infected your mind. And because you can't separate yourself, you're going to be desolate. You're going to be cut off. So anyway, 8th verse, and then the word of Yah came to me saying, thus saith Yah, after this manner will I do what?
Mar the pride of Judah.
Mar the pride of Yehuda, and the great pride of Jerusalem. This evil people, which refuse to hear my what?
Words.
Which walk in the imagination of their own heart. That's what we do right now. Instead of us going back to the script, we're going to say, well, my pastor said.
Right.
My pastor said.
Right.
This person said, that person said, so-and-so said.
He knows my heart.
And the things in the scripture we don't what? We don't adhere to. But let's keep going. This evil people, what was that? 10. Walk after the imagination of their own heart, walk after other gods to serve them and worship them, even shall be as this what?
Girdle.
Which is what?
Good for nothing.
When a salt has lost its savor, it is good for nothing but to be cast out and trodden under the foot of men. Your whole purpose of this people is to be a kingdom of kings and priests. So if you're not doing that job, you're good for nothing. You're good for nothing, and you're going to be marred. You're going to be destroyed by who? Babylon. You're going to be by the river Euphrates. You're going to be cut off. You're gonna be separated. All right. So anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep moving. We about to get to the meat in a little bit. All right. So let's go to Isaiah 60. You know, so we go Jeremiah, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Isaiah. Why is that? When you read the disciples, they do the same thing. Paul quotes Isaiah almost more than he quotes anybody. He constantly going back to Isaiah. So you got to understand what these prophets were saying about us. Hold on a second. We about to get right now. We still talking about the people. In a minute, we'll get into the land. Let me see. We might have to come back to this one because it might be getting ahead of what we want to say. Yeah, we will come back to 60 because that's relevant, but that's the end of what we're talking about. We don't want to do that right now. All right. So let's skip that. Let's go to Proverbs. Somebody read Proverbs 4 verse 19.
The way of the wicked as darkness, and they know not what they stumble. My son, attend to my word, incline thy heart into thy sayings.
Go ahead.
Okay, let them not depart from thy eyes, keep in the midst of thy heart. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thy heart with all thy diligence, and out of it are the issues of life. Put away from thee the forward mouth and pervert lips, put far from thee. Let thy eyes look right on, and let thy eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of the feet, and let all thy ways be established. Turn not to the right, nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil.
So we're talking about how, again, the wicked, and how his way is darkness. Going back to the whole Roman infection of the mind, the final beast. And for us to get to the point where we can be delivered from the captivity, we first got to remove the captivity of our mind, right? So we done cover that. Some of the stuff we already covered. We're not getting to 2 Peter right now, right? All right. So let's get into the desolation. All right. Luke 21. Y'all can just read that if y'all want to. I got it on the screen. Some of the stuff we already covered because I've been running my mouth so much. All right. Luke 21, 24.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
All right, so we know the scripture. We done read it a gazillion times, but we still talking about the desolation of Jerusalem, which is both a people and a city. It's both a place and a people. Jerusalem is. So we see the prophecy that Jerusalem is going to be tried down, and we're going to be all led away captive, and the land is going to be desolate, right? We've talked about that. All right. So, like I said, I'm telling you, we done covered some of this stuff by me just running my mouth. Did we go into Daniel 8?
Did we? No.
Okay, let's go to Daniel 8. So of course it said that we will be brought into captivity, and that the Gentiles will rule, right, in our land. All right, Daniel 8. We're not gonna read the whole chapter for time. We're gonna go down to the 13th verse. Well, I'll read the first verse and I'll skip down to the 13th to give you an idea. In the third year of the reign of King of Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto Daniel, after it appeared to me into the first. And I saw in a vision, when it came to pass, when I was at the Shushan in the palace, which was the province of Elam, I saw in a vision, and I was by the river Ulai. And I lifted up my eyes, and I saw, and behold, there stood before me a river, the river, a ram which had 2 horns, and 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the other came up last. Now, to save time, I can read all this, but he sees this vision of this ram that's going forward, backwards, and sideways, and he's knocking everybody out of his way. It's basically what he was seeing was the Greeks and the Romans, them rising in power. Okay, but for time, let's skip down to 10. Let's go to 9. And one of them came forth a little horn. This is the same ram, which waxed great. Remember we talking about the little horn a minute ago, right? That's the that was part of the Roman Empire. Let's keep going. Waxed great even to the south, to the east, and to the north, and to the pleasant land. That's Israel. So he's going all over, taking over all these lands. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and cast down some of the host of and the stars to the ground, and stepped them with their feet. Now, anyway, let's keep going. Yeah, he magnifies himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Right? Verse 12. And the host was given to him, even a daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and cast down to the ground, and in practice and in prosper. Right? And this is what we can get to. Verse 13. Then I heard, we explain that other stuff later in another teaching. Then I heard one saint say, and another saint said to a certain saint. It's like saints talking to each other, right? Yeah, one saint speaking, and another saint said unto a certain saint. So they're having a discussion, right? Okay? Which spake. Look at the question they say. Somebody read next verse.
How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgressions of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden under feet?
And we read out in Matthew 24, Christ, Mashiach said, he's going to kill you with a sword, and they're going to take you into captivity, and Jerusalem going to be what? Trodden down by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Now let's read this again. And I heard one saint speaking to another saint, and to a certain saint, which spake and said, how long is this concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? Now 2 things happened. When Jerusalem was destroyed, what happened to the daily sacrifice?
It ended.
It ended. It ended. When Jerusalem was destroyed, the daily sacrifice was done. You can see other places in Acts right before Jerusalem was destroyed, when they was on their missionary journeys, where they were still doing sacrifices in certain places, like because they went to one place and somebody had a Nazarite vow, and at the Nazarite vow you have to do a sacrifice, right? So just little places like that. But after 70 AD, none. No more sacrifices. No more daily sacrifices. All that stuff is done. Jerusalem was what? Destroyed, and they became what? Desolate. So let's go back 13. When I heard one saint speaking, another saint said to another saint, which spake, how long shall the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of what? Desolation. To give to both what? The sanctuary
And the host.
to be what?
Trodden underfoot.
Now, how was the sanctuary and the host trodden underfoot?
How?
How?
When the temple was, I'm going back to the Maccabees, right?
Well, this yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when the temple was defiled by the Greeks, and they forced the Israelites to partake in their worship, they had to eat swine.
Right.
They couldn't circumcise the boys, and basically they just ripped their culture away from them, and they spilled pig's blood on the altars and just defiled the free temple.
Yeah. Made the priests eat fruit.
Right, had to make them eat the pork. Yep.
Right.
So that killed 2 birds with 1 stone. That's the desolation of the temple, of the sanctuary, and the host.
Right? Because the host is what? Going back to trodden underfoot. The hosts are the people. People who what? Serve in the sanctuary. Right? So the people are getting tried now. So it's a double fulfillment. That is what happened. We know everything in Scripture most of the time has to witness it 2 or 3, or it happens 2 or 3 times. Fulfillments. So during that time it happened that way. In the future it happened again. But this time the sanctuary was not only desolate, it was destroyed.
Oh, okay. The Romans destroyed it.
Romans destroyed it. And then they tried the people down. They took the people out. They killed a third part of them. They took another third. They put them into slavery. And another third escaped. They're going back to people talking about the 1/3 doctrine. That's what it was talking about. But during that time period, two-thirds of the Israelites died. They killed all of them. Everybody that was in the land. 1/3. A part of them was taken into slavery, and another part of them escaped and went down into Egypt, and then crossed over from Egypt, ended up Ethiopia, with Ethiopia, and then eventually in West Africa. So saying that to say, so going back 13, and I heard a saint speaking and say, unto the certain which spake, how long should the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation? Because remember, after the time of the Maccabees, the daily sacrifice started again. Right? Because during the time of Mashiach, they was having the daily sacrifices. Right? That's after the time of the Maccabees. But after this other time, you got this time where this stuff gonna be cut off. And they asked the question, in the transgression of desolation, both the sanctuary and the host be trod underfoot. And he said unto me, 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. And it came to pass when Daniel and I saw the vision, it stood for the meaning. Behold, there stood before me the appearance of a man. So I'm not, for time to read the rest of it, because it's going to tell you about Persia and the king of Greece. Like if you read 20 verse, it says, and the rough goat is the king of Greece. So he's telling me to tell you that was the Greeks, right? And talking about the Persians, all that kind of stuff. But to save for time, let's keep going. So you get the context, right? Everybody get the context, right? So the whole context is that the daily sacrifice is going to be cut off. And the whole point of the daily sacrifice being cut off is twofold, right? I'm going to give this like a couple more minutes and then we're going to close out. But the daily sacrifice is a twofold thing. The sacrifice was done daily amongst the people, and also the sacrifice is you. Walking properly. We are living what?
Sacrifice.
Right? When we walk in according to Yah's vision. So when we outside of Yah's vision, we're sinners and we wicked and we cast out. Right? So we got in that during that time period, our nation ended, and also our rulership ended, and our connection to our past ended. Everybody got me? So anyway, so when you read Jeremiah 12, I'm just gonna read these verses. I'm gonna keep moving. There's another verse to talk about that. It says, many pastors have destroyed my vineyard. They have what? When we said trodden for the man, right?
Yes.
They have trodden my portion. Under what? Underfoot. It's Jeremiah 12:10. They have made my pleasant portion a what? Desolate wilderness. A desolate wilderness. Let's keep going. Lamentations chapter 1 verse 15. Y'all have trodden underfoot all my mighty men. So first we see that the actual place is called, it said it's trodden down by people, the land. The land is trodden down by the people. Now we have a precept with saying that it's the people that's being trodden down. When we're going back a couple different slides, we seen where it said that the sanctuary will be trodden down and the host, the people and the land. Okay? Lamentations 1 verse 15. And Yah have trodden underfoot all my mighty men in the midst of me. He have called me an assembly against me to crush my young men. Yah have trodden the virgin, the daughter of Judah, as the winepress. Right? It was by the declaration of Yah. Right? Let's keep going. I'm gonna read these verses fast so we can keep moving. Isaiah 6 verse 10. Make the heart of the people fat, make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understood with their heart and be converted and be healed. Now listen to the question now. Then I said, how long? This is what he says. Somebody read that. Somebody read, go to Isaiah 6. I think we had, I don't know what verse that is. Start at 10 and read it again for me.
That's it. Basically, this. Got to read it.
You want to read it? Go ahead. You can read it.
And he answered to the cities, be wasted without inhabitant, and the house without man, and the land be utterly desolate. And the Lord have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaken in the midst of the land.
All right. So, how long should these things happen? How long should the people be cast down? How long are they going to be trod down? How long are they going to be in the captivity? How long are all of these things going to take place? And I said, he answered and he said, until the cities be without inhabitant, and the houses be without man, and the land be utterly desolate. And Yah have removed men, where? Far away. And there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. But yet in it shall be a tent, and it shall return. And it shall be eaten, and it shall as a teal tree and as an oak, and whose substance is in them. And when they cast the leaf, the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. So what does that mean? So he's saying that all these things are going to happen until everybody is out of the land. Everybody's driven out. All the places, the places are destroyed. And I'm gonna show you some stuff that I'm gonna get to in the next teaching. And all these things are happening, right? Until the cities are without inhabitant and they wasted. Until the houses are without man. Until the land be utterly desolate. That's the time period. Until all those things happen, the indignation is not finished. In other words, the punishment of Yah is not complete. It's not complete. All right, let's keep going. Now, you see this right here. This is a picture. Y'all online, y'all see this too. This is a picture of Tel Aviv, I think. You see all these people living here? Now let me ask you a question. And this is getting to another part of teaching, which I'm trying to finish next week. I'm not even teaching this. I'm gonna put the ball in y'all corner. Everybody that's watching this video, everybody that's online, I'm gonna put the ball in your hand. You come up with your own conclusion about this. You do your own study and see if what this means and what do you feel about it. But you see right there, see all these people that live in this land? All these people? Now, according to the scripture, it says, then I said, how long? And he answered and said, until the cities be wasted and without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. And Yah have removed men far away. Have Yah removed men far away? Yes. The actual inhabitants of Israel, the actual true people that was in the land, are all over the planet Earth. They're not in the land. So we know that part is done. Right. He said to the cities would be without inhabitant. Now right there we see that all the people are inhabiting that part of the land. And the house without man, and there'll be an utter forsaking in the midst of the land. Let's go back. Now this don't look like without inhabitant. This don't look like a forsaking in the land. This is like a bunch of people that's there. Right? Now, this picture right here, and this is not me teaching this. This is not me agreeing with this. This is me putting this into your corner, and we're going to look at other prophecies going forward. So y'all can make your own decision about whether or not this is true or not. But this is a picture of Telerad in Israel. Now, look at this picture. And look at this picture. Look at this picture. And look at this picture. Both of these locations are in Israel. What's the difference between the two?
One's desolate.
Yeah, that one is.
This one is completely desolate, without inhabitant. This was filled up with cities. Right? Let's go back and read it again. Then I said, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be what? Utterly desolate. And Yah has removed men far away. We know that part is already done, right? And there'll be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. Let's go back. So which one of these cities fulfilled this prophecy? This city? Or that one? I'm not saying that this. I'm not making the statement that this is what this is. I'm saying I'm putting this out there for everybody to do their own research. Do their own research. Do your own research on this, because I haven't even came to a conclusion on this. But it's interesting. Okay? So again, this is Telerad in Jerusalem. Now I'm gonna show you a map of this, all right? Real fast. Let's go back. Hold on a second. Let me show y'all something. So this is Telerad. For everybody that's watching online. Y'all, whoever that's online, y'all getting audio. We ain't getting audio. I guess I can turn audio on some kind of way. Hold on a second. It should be playing. Don't necessarily know if it's playing or not. Let me see. Alright, it's playing. Alright, see this right here? People online are hearing this, but y'all ain't hearing this. So, church actually has. See right here? I'm gonna see if I can get this audio to play. Hold on a second.
I know it's one. I know it's one.
And I have to media source.
So what I did is I went to the book of Nehemiah, chapter 3. and I found the location as I was doing the translations of the different structures on the map. I found the location of the sheep gate, and it rung a bell because Nehemiah chapter 3 is talking about the brothers that came out of the Persian captivity and went and rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem. And it's very descriptive. They rebuilt the walls in order. And so once I located the sheep gate, I was able to trace the rest of the wall all the way around in order of Nehemiah chapter 3. And as we start here at the sheep gate, we'll notice right off the bat that Nehemiah chapter 3 actually goes counterclockwise around the walls of Jerusalem. Starting with verse 1 at the sheep gate, goes all the way around as you come back to Solomon's temple, to the sheep gate. So, with no further ado, let's start this verification process. Nehemiah chapter 3, verse 1. Then Eliashib, the high priest, rose up with his brethren the priests, and they builded the sheep gate, and sanctified it, and set up the doors of it, even unto the tower of Meher. They sanctified it unto the tower of Hananiel. And as you see, from the sheep gate, there is the high priest Eliashib represented, on down to the tower of Meah, unto the tower of Hananiel. Verse 2. And next unto him builded the men of Jericho, and next to them builded Zakur, the son of Imri. But the fish gate did the sons of Hesenah build, who also laid the beams thereof, and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. And next unto them repaired Merimoth, the son of Uriah, the son of Koz. And next unto them repaired Meshulam, the son of Berechiah, the son of Meshezabil. And next unto them repaired Zadok, the son of Baana. And next unto them the Tekoites repaired, but their nobles put not their necks to the work of the Most High. Moreover, the old gate repaired Jehoiada, the son of Paseah, and Meshullam, the son of Besodai. They laid the beams thereof, and set up the doors thereof, and the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. And next unto them repaired Melatiah, the Gibeonite, and Jadon, the Meronothite, the men of Gibeon, and of Mizpah, unto the throne of the governor on this side the river. Next unto him repaired Uzziel, the son of Harhiah, of the goldsmiths. Next unto him also repaired Hananiah, the son of one of the apothecaries, and they fortified Jerusalem unto the broad wall. And next unto them repaired Raphiah, the son of Hur, the ruler of the half part of Jerusalem. And next unto them repaired Jediah, the son of Harumath, even over against his house. And next unto him repaired Hattush, the son of Hashabinai, Malchiah, the son of Harim, and Hashub, the son of Pahathmo, repaired the other piece, and the tower of the furnaces. And next unto him repaired Shallum, the son of Halohesh, the ruler of the half part of Jerusalem, he and his daughters. The valley gate repaired Hanun, and the inhabitants of Zanoah. They built it, and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof, and 1,000 cubits on the wall unto the dung gate. But the dung gate repaired Malchiah, the son of Rechab, the ruler of part of Beth Karen. He built it, and set up the doors thereof. the locks thereof, and the bars thereof. But the gate of the fountain repaired Shallun, the son of Kohose, the ruler of part of Mizpah. He built it, and covered it, and set up the doors thereof, the locks thereof, and the bars thereof, and the wall of the pool of Silo by the king's garden, and unto the stairs that go down from the city of David. After him repaired Nehemiah, the son of Azbuk, the ruler of the half part of Bethzur, unto the place over against the sepulchres of David, and to the pool that was made, and unto the house of the mighty. After him repaired the Levites, Rechom, the son of Bani. Next unto him repaired Hashabiah, the ruler of the half part of Kaliah, and
So, I don't switch back. Alright. So again, Chip, stop. So you look at this right here, and I'm gonna get into this next week.
Wow.
That map, you can take that map, and you can. This is Telerad. You can lay it over this, and it fits into a T. Every last thing you've seen in that map fits right over Telerad. Telerad that's the fortress. There's a temple complex. You can tell the place where they want to destroy it. That's the gate. See the gate going all the way around the city? Mm-hmm. You literally can take that map and you can lay it right over the top of Telerad and then fit it to the exact T. Now, am I saying that that's the real Jerusalem? I'm not saying that because I don't know. I don't know, but it's extremely interesting. Especially
Scripture though, my friend.
yes, I mean line to line. You see how detailed that map is?
Boy, that's golden scripture.
The Roman Catholics had this map for I don't know how many years, and kept it under wraps. Most people don't even have that map. I mean, I got all kind of maps, and I don't got that map. So it is to the T. And I stopped. It's 22-minute video. It goes word for word for word
Wait, so
for
what you're
word
saying,
for
like
word for word.
what we say Jerusalem is now is not biblical Jerusalem?
It's a possibility.
I mean, but that's basically what you're saying. That's
It's a possibility. Now let's go to these prophecies. Remember what did the prophecy say?
The land gonna be desolate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? Jeremiah 33:10. Thus says Yah, again, this should be heard in a place. You shall say, be desolate, without man and without beast, even the cities of Yehuda. Let's go again. Ezekiel 34-36. And they shall say, this land was desolate. It's become like the Garden of Eden. And the waste and desolate ruined cities are become fenced and inhabited. Now, this kind of line up with that, right? I ain't saying that's what it is, but it's extremely interesting. Isaiah 49, verse 21. Then thou shalt say in thy heart, thou hast begotten me, seeing I have lost children, I am desolate and a captive and removing to and fro. So you see how it goes from the people to the land, to the people to the land. People being desolate, they cut off. Land being cut off, being desolate. But when you look at this, again, that's Telerad. And then you read scriptures like this, when it says, then I said, how long? And he answered me and said, until the cities be wasted and without inhabitant, until the houses are without man, and the land be utterly desolate. Utterly desolate means completely desolate. And Yah has removed men from our way. And we know we here, so we move far away, right? And there'll be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. That don't fit that prophecy. This does. So there's brothers that's out there right now. I mean, that's in Telerad doing these studies and stuff like that. But I wanted to bring that out because it goes back to this whole thing of desolation. This is not only a literal depiction of what the city is, but it's also our state as a people. We are dry. Remember, Scripture calls us what? The dry bones, right? Dead, desolate, right? So when we see a piece like this, when we hear Scripture says that, how long? It says until the place be without man and without inhabitant. And we look at this, and the land is desolate. Now, think about what kind of miracle this would be if this place all of a sudden turned to like the Garden of Eden. Ain't no animals. It says without beasts, right? You don't see no animals here.
They can't live there. Ain't nothing living.
It's completely desolate. Cursed. Set up. It's the same thing. It will be a miracle. But anyway, how the hell y'all going up?
That's very interesting.
Everybody look into this. I'm not making any conclusions because I've been doing other studies about where other historical areas at and how it ties into Telerad and how the prophecies, because there's more study need to be done. But when you look at this, it is interesting. When the prophecies talk about how the land be utterly desolate and forsaken, and you see that this place in Israel that's utterly desolate and forsaken, it lines up with that. But the gist of it is, we're in that same state as a people. We are like we're desolate, without man, dry, right? So the Most High is again, what He's doing right now. What are we doing? We prophesying upon them bones. Return back. But before you keep the Torah, though, remember, be born, repent and be baptized in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach for the remission of sin, and ye shall receive the Ruach HaKodesh. Because those who be able to enter into this city that we're going back to is those that have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach and keep the commandments.
Yep.
Right? And when we do that, we become this. The land will no longer become desolate. It'll become like the Garden of Eden. We will what? Bear fruit.
Yeah. True.
Right? But as long as we're not producing, we're not salting. In other words, we done lost our Savior. We're good for nothing. But to be tried down upon under the foot of man, we will remain in desolation because our lives are abominable. The abomination that makes desolate. So again, who destroyed the city? The Romans. The Romans. Right? We have Rome in our mind. We have Roman Catholicism in our minds. So we are paralleling, just like Telerad, just completely desolate. We're not producing any fruit. So we have to come out of that. Scripture says, come out of her, my people. Right? And be separate. Touch not the unclean thing. You understand what I'm saying? Separate yourself from it. So anyway, so with that, I'm going to say shalom. And we hopefully later on we'll try to finish the rest of this. It ain't much more of this teaching, but hopefully somebody got something out of this, and we'll talk to y'all online later.